Right, hello there, everyone. Welcome back to James Redmond TV. Old frenemies. Frenemies,
Yeah.
would you suggest, Saeed?
Yeah,
Frenemies, like we're friends,
frenemies,
but
frenemies.
we've had some heated debates as well.
Yeah.
Always
Nah,
banter. Two parts of what was a very classic energy show. You know what I mean? Like a
expression decided to leave us,
unbelievable
man.
show.
You know what I mean?
In it,
Shame on
but
your
you know what?
expressions.
Lad, he's fucked us off, Saeed. He's fucked us off. Nah, do you know what though?
Nah,
I
big up,
understand
big
it
up.
with how many big shows he's got, and like he's so
Yeah.
saturated. And I was talking to him, and we were suggesting doing like a show every few months, like to a reunion, all three of us. Like that'd be a belt, and
Yeah.
I'm made up to see what he's doing, lad. He's smashing it.
Nah,
Same
big
with
up
you,
expressions,
Saeed.
man.
Your
Yeah,
numbers are
man. Listen, what can I say, man? You know what I mean? Life's changing it. You know what I'm saying? We're out here, we're doing
yeah.
things, but the main thing is that we're all happy. The return of James Redmond. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
we wanted to see the Scouse
So you can
lad
take the piss out of
talking.
me again.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Finally,
No, go on.
I feel like you've entered YouTube in a nice way. And I feel like now YouTube, you now need to realize the other side of YouTube is that you've got to put a front when the team is down and out. You know what I mean? And your team is down and out. Obviously, you know, 7-1 hype yesterday. You know what I mean? Maybe Liverpool are back. I don't know. Mentality Monsters are back, man. Salah's back.
Mohamed Salah, bruv. Mohamed Salah.
Listen,
say his name properly. Say his name
listen,
properly.
it ain't easy, man, against Rangers, man.
Talk respectful
Found his level.
about the king. Talk respectful about the king. You know what I mean? Quickest ever hat-trick in Champions League history. Has Ronaldo ever done that?
On.
Has Ronaldo ever done that? Has Thierry Henry ever done that?
Against Rangers, man.
Against Rangers are a sound team. Come
down
on.
And out, mate.
If they're on FIFA, they're a 3.5 star team. Come on, that's not too bad. No one else has ever done it.
That.
No,
I'm more happy. I'm more happy for Núñez to find this form. You know what I mean? Salah, this is what he's meant to be. He's meant to be doing. This is world class Salah. This is the King Salah. You know what I mean? Núñez, it's good for him and his confidence because you know what I mean. We need to see more of them. You know what I mean? Because Núñez right now is looking a bit stinky, but right now he's doing his thing. Liverpool. Let me tell you something though. Firmino is literally holding Liverpool. I'm telling you now. Now I know why you call him Si Senor. He is the C Senor of Liverpool. He is holding Liverpool.
Oh, did you say Firmino? Did you say Firmino?
Firmino, mate.
I thought you said Firmino.
Mate.
I was going to be like, what?
Nah, not Firmino. He's gone,
touch my knuckles, G. Touch my knuckles, lad.
There you go, mate.
Isn't Firmino a G? Isn't Firmino?
I've always rated him, though. I've always rated Firmino. I think
he's boss.
Yeah. I feel like for me, Firmino is going to be, I reckon he'll be one of the most underrated players in the Premier League era that we grew up on. Like, honestly, man, when you look at what he's done for Liverpool, it goes unnoticed. And I've always given him a bit of respect. And when he came to Old Trafford last season, obviously we won't mention that 5-0 again, but he was like the pivot of what you guys done. Well, I did, yeah. You know what I mean? But I feel like for me, he's so key to what Liverpool do. And I feel like, does he get underappreciated by the Liverpool fan base? I don't know. You will have to tell me more, but I feel like you've got a new toy in Núñez, but don't remember what's held you down for so long, and that's Firmino. You know what I mean?
So the question that you're asking is, do I think Liverpool fans underappreciate Firmino?
Yeah.
For sure, definitely, because you still see a lot of people like protesting to get Núñez starts, which I have suggested the best thing would be to, you know, prolong it and treat him. I know he's a big money signing, Saeed, so I know you're going to laugh at this, but I mean, to benefit him for what he is, we've already invested, we can't go back. Treat him kind of like a youth academy player where for the long term, you're trying to benefit him there. He's 22 years of age. I haven't seen great signs of technical ability, finishing, and just an all-round game that I expect from what is supposed to be someone who's supposed to instantly come in and improve us and score goals. I don't think he is that. I think we need to wait a bit longer, and that's the sort of thing, Saeed, with Núñez, and that's why experience overall. Firmino has got 12 goal contributions in 12 games. You can dissect some of the games where he got a big chunk of those in one game for sure. But in times like right now where the team collectively isn't playing well, I am so sorry. You have to still give him the homage. The fact that he's still finding goals, he's still creating goals. Even the goal that he created for Núñez, that was absolutely superb. And Saeed, you'll appreciate this. It looks boss. It looks amazing. And when you can see silky 5-star skill moves, I am all for it. It's why I'm devout. Luis Diaz is out. But while Luis Diaz, Mr. Sensation himself, the Colombian sensation, while he's out, Bobby's just decided to go 7-18 old school and just... That's the biggest plot twist of the season, you know. Not even that Liverpool are crap, But that Bobby Firmino, after 2 years of being neglected, and kind of rightly so, because he weren't playing too great, to be honest. But he's just came back, and it's mad that you mentioned Bobby Firmino, because it's good to see you respecting him, opposed to just me and a few Liverpool fans respecting him. I'm glad that that you see it from that as well. Saeed, I was thinking about getting into a few things in the show, but you've started on Liverpool. I was going to ask you, because I've asked everyone who I've had on recently on the show about, because I'm struggling. I always talk about that. I have an okay sense of football. I can usually identify a main thing or a wrong issue. If you had to identify the main issue at Liverpool, whether it's the manager, the owners, or the players itself, or a collective bunch, which is what I lean more towards, what do you think is that main problem, and how would you identify that one?
I think for me, banter aside, I think Liverpool are stagnating a little bit. I think for me, midfield area, you've neglected it again. Okay, you've got Thiago in a few recent seasons and whatnot. You've tried to introduce Harvey Elliott, etc., etc. But I feel like for me, there's a difference between Guardiola and Klopp is that they've always wanted to refresh. Guardiola isn't bothered about maybe spending a little bit more or kind of doing things a little bit more. Maybe Klopp has that feeling of, you know what, similar to Fergie, and if there's no value in the market, I'm not going to go and get it. And that's what Fergie used to say. There's no value in the market, we're not going to go and dip into that market. And I feel like with Klopp, there's situations where I feel like he could have refreshed his squad, get a bit more life in there, get a bit more blood in there, maybe leave out the old guard. Has he got his favourites? Has he got... You know, sometimes you don't want to lose them guys that kind of brought you to what you were today, the Hendersons, the what you call it, Fabinho's, these guys who have been there, done it. And obviously, maybe some that you've probably said, you know what, in Mane, who I think could have had a little bit more, rather than maybe, let's say, Fabinho, who is probably reaching towards the end of his kind of reign at Liverpool. I think so for me. He's 28, but I'm telling you now, man, I did see his passports, James, man, because I don't think he's 28, mate. He plays like he's 39. Honestly, his mobility is shocking. But I understand why Klopp likes him, because you've had him for a while and he's been that kind of that staunch for you. I feel like the difference at Liverpool is you haven't refreshed it, man, especially in that midfield. That's where the games are won and lost. And I'm sorry, Milner and Henderson in 2022. I know you love Henderson. I know we've had Henderson versus Pogba and all that year. But I'm sorry, that don't work in
that was taken out of context. Sorry, Saeed. I've got better with the breakaway from YouTube and the job that I used to have. It made me learn how to listen. You know what I mean?
I'll accept the apology.
I am not gonna. It weren't an apology. I was gonna say though, with Paul Pogba and the Henderson debate completely taken out of context, and you and Rance have created this agenda that I said overall Henderson had more skills than Pogba, better passer than Pogba, better goal scorer than Pogba. No, what was the debate? The debate was Henderson was more informed than Paul Pogba, which at the time you were scounding in around like what Europa League position somewhere, mad. And Henderson was chilling.
To be fair though, Henderson was chilling at the same position.
So exactly, and it was Rance who brought that debate up, because he brings up stupid debates that he tries to win sometimes and he fails because he just chooses the wrong opponent, which is more than fine, Saeed. Because listen, he can have a verbal war, but it's different when you come to a verbal war with the James Redmondinho itself. It is.
I like that.
I think that's the case. I love Rance and you know what, Saeed? I just don't want.
No, it's good, man. It's good because it just shows you how much Henderson's been a very, very important part of your team, because he has been an important cog in your team. But I think with Liverpool, they've not refreshed their team. City and Guardiola every season, right? We're going to get this player. Phillips. Would Liverpool have bought Phillips? I don't think they would have, because at the end of the day, it's like, oh no, we've got certain other... Milner can do that role for another year. No, go and get Phillips, so then you can have certain players and give them a rest. Okay, probably the worst example because Phillips is injury prone and you don't want that player at Liverpool. But I'm just giving you an example of, you know, City will spend that 50 million regardless, but Liverpool won't do that. They spent on Nunes, but I think for me, was their strike the important issue last season? I don't think so. It was a middle of the park, and that's where they needed to reinforce, and they didn't. They're saying now we're going to wait till next summer. I don't see you guys going and getting Jude Bellingham. I'll be really, really honest with you, especially when I think Liverpool now might not be getting top four. I know we'll discuss it in a little bit, but I think for me, Liverpool have got massive problems, and I feel like for me, that area there of not refreshing it, that's the biggest one. And you'd agree, you don't want to see Milner and Henderson at midfield every week, do you?
No,
you don't want to see that.
No. No. Just to dissect then what you've just gave us there, Saeed, because I think discussion's a very good thing to have, and I think some of the points that you just made were actually very logical, which I'm not going to lie, Saeed, I think you've got a lot better with over time. I think you bring more logic to
Listen,
your
new
points.
me, man. New me. I
No,
told
no,
everyone,
I
man.
do,
It's new Saeed now.
I think people highly rate it as well. I definitely do. And to talk about this specific part, I think the way you broke it down is that you think certain players are just getting older. They've been in the squad for a long time, playing at a high intensity. Not that they're not still good, but they're not good enough for Liverpool to be winning Premier League titles, which is what I assume is what you mean there. So all that, I couldn't agree more. I completely agree. I think, even though he scored a hat-trick against Rangers, I have huge questions over Salah. And it's only because it's been a longer time. It's not just a bad patch. It's been nearly a bad year because it's been since January. So I'm not trying to say let's just sell him because we can't now. But did we give him that big lucrative contract?
Maybe you can. Maybe you can.
Whole different conversation. But I'll agree with that. The only thing I struggle to I struggle to listen to what your argument is when you compare Klopp to Pep, because I also think that Pep has definitely more resources to bring in more players. I think the financial targets of both clubs are just not as flexible. So Manchester City, very flexible because they have the money to contribute to a really, really phenomenal youth structure, which they can invest a lot of money into, which brings a lot of money, which balances the financial fair play.
Yeah,
because
I get that.
Because without financial fair play, they could spend a lot more money than what they do. Not to mention that same ownership of the club also own about 12 other football clubs, which also generates immense revenue. When you think about it from that perspective, balancing the books for Manchester City is one very easy to get away. And I'm not trying to say that they cheat or anything like that. That's up to perception. Based on the rules and the lines of the game and what they've confirmed, Manchester City are doing everything right. But they've got more resources to do it right. And fair enough, they're doing it to the best they can. Liverpool, FSG aren't doing that. Why? Because they don't have as much money as Man City. So as much as I'd love to get Phillips, who already you mentioned is injury prone, which we've had a huge issue with recently, maybe it makes more sense to go with a Jude Bellingham, who's more of a long-term option, and you might just have to spend that little bit more money. It's a different debate whether we'll spend that money on Jude, but I do still think there's an intention. Let me know if you disagree, for Liverpool to buy at least a big player.
I think there's always going to be that intention, but you know what I mean? There's one thing intention, there's one thing that you can actually buy. Yeah. My thing is, when then it comes down to strategy, then both teams have a strategy. That's why I get why there is a lot of frustration at FSG in terms of you spent €100 million package on Nunes when do we think that was a main thing that they needed to go and get? Could they have resourced it a little bit better? Could they have, gone about it a different way? Because I feel like for me, that midfield area needed refreshing. Fabinho, okay, he's 28, 29. Thiago, over 30. Henderson, over 30. Milner, over 30.
Who do you blame? Who do you blame specifically out of Klopp and FSG for not refreshing the midfield?
I think for me, I'm not going to lie to you, I think it's partly both to blame, because at the end of the day, the manager will say, what do I want? And then FSG will be like, well, we haven't got the right money here, so you might have to hold out until we can raise a bit of funds. I still think Klopp is partly to blame, because at the end of the day, it comes from within Klopp. And that's why I say it's similar to Fergie. When Fergie said there's no value in the market, the guys are like, oh, that's good then, isn't it? Because the godfather of Man United is saying, well, hold on a minute. He's just like, you know what, we don't need to spend. Then the Man United fans will be like, okay then, right then, Fergie knows best.
He has got to say that, because certain managers won't stand for being what would be a so-called yes man, but the majority of managers have to be a yes man because it's not their football club, and it's also a really big opportunity, and it's a club that he's grown with. He's not going to be bringing in the politics of the football side and cause disruption from the top, because that just doesn't create a good environment. And even though I think Klopp could actually do that and possibly get away with it if he executed the whole thing right, it's just not the type of man he is. Go for it.
Before I cut you off, I think for me, does Jurgen Klopp come out as a man that is so invested in Liverpool? He's so ingrained with the football club. He is like Mr. Liverpool in the last, 10 years. Does he not feel like, you know what, I don't want to tread on anyone's toes. I don't want to do that. I don't want to not take my legacy, but just want to leave maybe Liverpool in a way where I didn't say this to anyone. I was a nice person. I didn't call that person out. I didn't call the owner out. I just wanted to be known as a guy who was respectful and just almost like he wanted to do it the right way rather than forcing things to happen. Do you get a feeling with that one?
I certainly don't think that he was sitting there thinking, well, I want people to know me for this and that. I think he's made it very clear that he doesn't really care about people's opinions. I've seen the way he reacts to the media. If he doesn't like something, whether you agree or disagree with Jurgen,
Yeah.
he'll talk out at it. So I don't think he's doing anything really to make himself sound favourable. I think it just comes down to honour, Saeed, principles. I think principles is something that some people don't develop as much and some people stick with very strongly. And he's someone who came through the football world. He's someone who's always been a very important man to all the clubs that he's been at. He's had a huge influence, and everyone talks about the seventh season. We don't know what happens after the seventh season, so I think it's tough to judge him just on that in itself, and it's also tough to suggest he's trying to create an atmosphere where people believe he's this person that maybe he's not. I don't think he does anything like that. I think the reason why he doesn't question the owners is because it's not his position to question the owners. Back in the day, there was definitely more influence for managers. It was given to them because the owners at those times and the owners back then just didn't have the resources to look at football the way they do now. Everything's tactical, everything's analytic. You'll see about owners who one thing that people might not know, Liverpool have got two owners. John W. Henry is responsible for looking at players just stats, Saeed. He only looks at stats. There's another one who's the visual. So he'll sort out the scouts who go out in different parts of the world, find the youngsters and the first team players. But John W. Henry will look at stats, and it's very precise ones. It's not just goals, assists and stuff. It's like, how many times does he pass the ball with his right foot from this specific position? So if you're looking for a right side to centre back, if you're trying to find the winger and stuff, very precise stuff to where when you balance those two things, it's actually probably a good combination. But the point that I was making there is, as they have more influence, it's not Jurgen Klopp's job who's getting paid. Not trying to assume how much he makes, but what I assume is a custody amount a week. It's not in his position to. I think a job of a manager nowadays is to make do with what they've got. And if they're hitting the owner's targets, which I believe, you can let me know if you disagree, Saeed, I think FSG are more than happy with fourth. And my explanation with fourth is because Champions League revenue is the one thing that gets clubs the majority of their money in terms of what they're able to spend and put back into the club. On top of that as well, there's a new Champions League format that's coming out in a couple of seasons, which every club is going to want to be there to maximise the Champions League revenue, as it's going to be even more by then. Jurgen Klopp has just got seconds, a Champions League final and 2 trophies. We didn't get someone like, I don't know, Tuchemani, who we were linked with apparently, and then we didn't get Jude Bellingham, and we didn't go out and get that big player. We ended up getting Arthur. And maybe that's because FSG has thought, okay, right, we're not going to spend the extra money for Bellingham now. We'll try and wait and try and get him again next summer. But why am I going to spend 150 million on a Jude Bellingham right now to possibly win me a Premier League when it doesn't guarantee me a Premier League? Yeah, he makes us better, but it doesn't guarantee me second to first. So why am I going to take that much of a risk to possibly get a Premier League when I'm getting this much money from the Champions League by finishing second or third?
And this is the balancing box.
The higher you finish is the more money you get. So the point that I'm leading to is, as they have more influence and their job is to only get Champions League, Jurgen Klopp is the perfect man to do that. When they set out those targets to the executives of the club and then the executives to Jurgen Klopp, Jurgen Klopp's doing everything he needs to be, which is why he's not under pressure from the top at the moment. So even though he's not competing us for league titles, which is my expectation and possibly neutral fans' expectation in previous seasons, the investment put into the team overall shows complete otherwise, and it shows that they've got different ambitions. And it's the same with Arsenal. It's the same with the Glazers. Once Sir Alex left, it was very questionable ambition.
And but the only thing is, though, the only thing is, though, you're gonna hit a breaking point. You're gonna hit a point where what you just said there, and they're expected to make top 4, but this season now, when you've got competition in, say now, for what all Man United have been through and whatnot, they're still going to be in around that top 4. Tottenham are in there. Chelsea are in there. Arsenal, how many points are they ahead of you now? 17 points, something like that. It's crazy. I know you've got a game in hand, but right now, that argument, it kind of doesn't weigh anything, because it's like, the whole, it's going to be a struggle to get top 4, and why would you risk that? Knowing that, okay, Klopp's a miracle worker, this and that. Why don't you back the guy? Have a better chance of moving up the table, have a better chance of winning the league, as what Liverpool had, rather than say, you know what, we're gonna risk it, and we're gonna be like, you know what, Jurgen Klopp's a magician. He'll be able to fix it. He'll be able to get us into that top 4, because there's no guarantees, and you know that this season. Liverpool fans are sweating for top four, and it's not even a joke. I'm not even trying to banter you guys, but there's a real possibility that Liverpool don't make top four, and then it's like, well, you're not going to get Jude Bellingham, you're not going to get all these players that you're going to get, and you're probably not going to spend as much as you would probably previously that you were getting into the top four and winning titles and whatnot. So it's a very, very sticky situation, and it was a very, very risky move that they've done, the FSG, and I feel like for me, it's not going to bode well now that you're having to fight for your lives for this top four. It's now top four or bust, really.
I don't think.
Am I right or wrong?
I'm very questioning that if we're going to get top four or not, which is why I agree it was a risk. But this just shows that FSG aren't as intelligent as maybe you think they are, or maybe they think they are. Because I don't attribute this to Jurgen Klopp. I feel like they have lacked the investment over seasons on seasons on seasons. They've won a Premier League, they've finished second multiple times, they've got to 3 Champions League finals. There's money there, Saeed. There's not anyone who thinks otherwise. It's just ludicrous, and we've made great revenue from selling players. You know, we've got some decent youth academy players sold and stuff like that. There's money there. But how do you maximize your bank account? You maximize your bank account by making sure that you're just involved with the top teams and the top brands to attract the top adverts and, you know, the top sponsorships. And the way you do that is by being in the Champions League. And all these clubs know that. Arsenal know that. United know that. We know that. The difference with United is that you've actually got the funds to be able to express yourself as a club who's going for the league titles, but it shows with the structure beneath that you're neglecting other things. That just shows they don't know what they're on about. However, what I was going to say, Saeed, on to a next debate is, this is kind of like a debate. Liverpool last season were 13 points behind City, and we brought it back nearly on the last day, nearly 1 point off them.
What are you going to say now?
Who's going to finish higher, Liverpool or Manchester United?
You know what?
I'll let you go first, and then I'll respond.
I might revise my Premier League predictions. I think for me, the way I'm looking at Liverpool this season, I think Man United have got a better chance of getting top four than Liverpool. And you can clip it all you want, people. But I think there's massive problems. I think sometimes we're underplaying it. The form of Trent.
Skullfuggery, where are you, lad? Skullfuggery.
Well, I'll say it now. But you know what it is, though? Skullfuggery doesn't need to say anything because I said on the Big Six, let me just say something.
He's going to fuck you over, Saeed. He's going to...
I don't care. I don't care. You know why I'm saying this? I think Liverpool might not finish in the top four. And this is why I say this is not any banter. But I did say on the Big Six, I said, if there's one team... And if Liverpool carry on this form that they're showing, and also the problems that's showing, and I said, if there's one team to drop out, and it's a big name, I said it would be Liverpool. And people know there's clips out there. I actually put Liverpool to finish third this season. So it wasn't even a high, where I normally put them is second. But I look at Liverpool's problems. Diaz out till December. I look at the former Trent. I look at the midfield. This is where, for me, this is where my argument is. It's more the midfield. The midfield area... You're relying heavily on Thiago, who yesterday, by the way, played quality. But I look at what you guys have, your depth. It's not as great as what you think, and I feel like you would even say that as well. And I look at where Liverpool's kind of downward spiral. I'm thinking, you know what? It's not looking good. And I feel like yes, form. Yes, they can get better. Yes, there's still a lot to play in this season, but I still think there's more of Liverpool. Like sliding away still than there is them improving. You know how normally you say, right, that's the end now.
Saeed, wait there. Where do you rank Manchester United in the league then?
I reckon we'll finish fourth.
Fourth. So you think you're the fourth best team in the Premier League? Who finishes?
No, but again...
wait there. I'm not even saying you're wrong. I'm just asking, Saeed, I'm just asking you questions. I'm not trying to put pressure on you. Who do you think's going to finish above you?
I think, obviously, Man City will win the league.
Yeah.
I think I put originally second to be Tottenham. I think Tottenham will finish second. I've now revised it. Like I said to you, I originally put Arsenal to finish outside top four. I've revised that now. Second. I think Arsenal will make top four. I think they'll finish third.
And who's finishing second?
Second, I put Tottenham, and then I put United fourth.
Are you sticking with Tottenham?
Yeah, I think, you know what? Tottenham, people are sleeping on Tottenham, you know. They're getting results and they're efficient.
Not even to go away from the original premise to why I was asking that question, because the reason why I was asking it is so you think Tottenham, Arsenal and Manchester City are going to finish above you, so you still think you're better than Chelsea?
I still think
because they're getting some better results.
I think you know what? It's not that I think they're better than Chelsea. I still think when there's an opportunity for Potter and it goes south, what happens then? Can he control this squad and can he get the best? Because there's always the thing with Chelsea. They've not had an amazing kind of like getting into the top four. They've only been just about squeezing the top four. Last season they did squeezing the top four. The season before that they're just about squeezing the top four. Their record in the last 4 or 5 years in the Premier League is looking a bit smelly. And a lot of people don't talk about Chelsea's kind of like standings in the Premier League. They've just about scraped it every single time in the top four. That's why I think for me, they'll jump out. My thing is there is a lot of bias in there. I think I am favouring Man United a little bit more, but I also am using logical in terms of I think there's problems at Liverpool. And I feel like for me, they're not slowing away. Like, I think you're going to get beat. You know what I mean?
Forget about Liverpool, because on current form, if you're using current form as the logic, then yeah, you probably will finish above us as Bournemouth.
No, but I get that. I still think there's going to be more problems for Liverpool to solve before it gets better. And I think when it gets better, it'll be too late. Do you get what I'm saying now?
Yeah, but I just think you're really underestimating Chelsea, and I just think you need to be careful with how you set the expectations of the team this year. So if you finish fifth, would you be angry?
I want to be angry because I feel like it's always a transitional season for.
So you'd still be sound with like fifth and sixth.
No, I want to be sound, but I want to be mad at the manager because I know it's the first season.
So that's what I was going to, because you've got to realise, Saeed, I just hope you're not saying that with chest, because I still believe that Chelsea have found a real big spring of form. Tottenham is the one that I question a little bit, just in terms of consistency and how much they'll be able to keep it up. Good team and that, and I thought so as well, but I just think that style of football will not get them far. Go on.
But do you not think that this season here, there's not a lot differences between this top six, but two teams are gonna be so disappointed. Yeah, but not really though. I think like United have tailed off
pretty much every season. Like, do you remember the season when we finished third? It was literally like 3 teams were competing for that on the last day of the season.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. But then does that not make you realise that, you know what, it's gonna be anything? Anything could happen.
I'm just making a season. I just hate that I'm a part of it, because I'm used to us and City at least competing at the top, and then everyone else just chilling at the top fours. So yeah, lads, it's heavy.
But but if I was to flip that to you, are you confident Liverpool will finish top 4?
No, I've said openly on platforms that I don't know if we will, based on the reasons that you said. That's why I weren't disagreeing with you before. What I was trying to get to is if you're dead confident, if you think United are going to finish top 4, because I think if you're really confident, I just think there's a bigger chance.
I'm not really confident.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, out of 100%, what percentage are you confident
that we'll finish above Liverpool?
No. Getting top 4.
Top 4, I'd say 65%.
65%? That's such a seedy number, Saeed, but I like it.
You know why? Because it's like, it's not 70% and it's not too, confident, but it's like, I think, you know what, we can do it. And I know we've got Europa League, but I still think we're managing that well. We've got a kind of good squad to manage that. And I'm thinking and looking at it in January. But I'm just looking at situations. I'm looking at Liverpool, and it's not the same. And even Liverpool fans will say that they're not confident that they'll finish top 4. There's just a lot of problems there. I think that, you know what, even Jurgen Klopp's looking at it thinking, bloody hell, how do I fix this? Have I got enough time to fix this?
Oh yeah, Saeed, I agree. But what do you think the solution is, my friends? Because I've been asking everyone that, and I want you to tell. So yeah, would you give him time, or do you think if this form continues, or do you think if this form continues, then say if we finished 7th this season, then next season we finished 6th, would you sack him? Like, how much time do you give him to rebuild this team, which has clearly lost a lot of its legs?
You know what? See, as a Man United fan, I've still got to respect Klopp in the sense that what he's achieved in the game.
Do you think overachieved
as a manager? No, I think he still could have achieved a little bit more. I'll be honest with you. That's just I think he could have won a few more Premier Leagues. But then again, that's a bit harsh because I feel like Man City were just great. But I still think they could have won a few more cups. The Champions League last year, I think that should have been theirs. But then Real Madrid came up and said otherwise. But I do think, for me, calling for Klopp to be sacked, I think is very, very premature. But there's also the fine line in terms of when it goes stale, what do you then do? Because he's got a contract until 2024, I believe. What do you do then? Do you plan ahead now? Is this a time where Liverpool fans have got to think, you know what? Or sorry, as a club, we've got to think, you know what? if this season carries on, we don't get top 4, and next season doesn't go well, then we've got to have a plan in the summer to say, you know what? When we then have that time to say, right, Jurgen Klopp, I think this might be the end of the road, we have then a manager to kind of replace him, because you could do what United done. And similar to Liverpool, have several managers after Klopp, and you're sacking them left, right, centre. You've got to make sure it's a right appointment. But having said all that, I think for me, Jurgen Klopp still deserves a lot of praise, still deserves time, especially next season, to get it right. He needs another summer. If he can get that summer right, FSG can back him, then why not? There's always one freak season Liverpool can have in all the glory that you've had. There's always one freak season where you don't get that top 4. But the next season, and if you do get into that top 4 and you do strive better in the Premier League, then it just shows that maybe people were panicking a little bit. But he does deserve at least one more season. But it's sticky, man. You know what? It's a very, very sensitive subject, you know, with Jurgen Klopp. I don't know what it is, man. It's for Liverpool fans.
Nah. It's just wait a minute, lads. It's one of those things. We were dead shit for time. He's like. You know who Bill Shankly is, and you know about his story, don't you? You know the score with Bill Shankly. Bill Shankly was like the greatest manager that Liverpool ever had, because he built the basis which Bob Paisley went and taken over, and he got even more trophies than what Bill Shankly was. But it was off the premise of what Bill Shankly set. And I was never born during those times, so I can't really I can learn on history, and it's boss when you read it, but I weren't there, so I can't think about it, and I can't imagine Liverpool being this amazing European side. And do you know what, Saeed? Even though it was 3 to 4 seasons, I think that 11 over those 3 to 4 seasons can compete as one of the best teams that the Premier League's ever seen. I do like, and I'm not saying, because people try and say United's legacy, which did last long periods of time due to Sir Alex, but as they all say, the 11 was constantly changing. Ours has barely changed, and we were maintaining that success for 3 to 4 seasons, and we got like just the way we dominated. I think, you know, like, how do people determine the best fighter in the UFC? A lot of people like to determine how much they dominate their opponents, and that's why a lot of people say Khabib is the greatest lightweight of all time. A lot of people say that because of how much he dominated and he never got hit. And, you know, that's the most convincing way to say he's going to be a champion. Liverpool was that thing. The only thing was Khabib times 2 was the case in the Premier League, because Man City were kind of that better version. It was like we were Kamzat Chimaev and they were Khabib. You know what I mean? Like, we were still decent. We were still heavy. We had pressure, and we could beat everyone, but we couldn't beat him. And that was that doesn't take us away from not being in that conversation. And it was Klopp who created that, and it's why I agree with everything you said. The only thing I won't is that saying that Klopp didn't overachieve in his time at Liverpool, because without context, I think banter is great when you don't use context. The only time I don't use context is when I'm having banter. But I think when you're having a discussion, I think it's important to use context and look at the fact that, like, I know you don't like hearing this, but just even the premise of how many more points tallies he's had more than Sir Alex's highest. Again, you know I don't use that argument to say he's better. You know I don't. He's not even close. 2 completely different type of managers as well. Actually, not really, because Sir Alex built Man United. But what I'm trying to say is that I just think he definitely overachieved, won a Champions League, Premier League. He's won every trophy at the club. No one else has done that in recent time, and they've even had more resources.
That's what I'm saying. Are you basing that off what you haven't done in recent time, or are you basing it off?
No, I'm basing it off what I've based that specific sentence on what every manager's done in recent time. There's no other manager at an English club who's won every trophy.
100%.
Like in recent time. So that's the way I look at it. I think that's impressive. Klopp's done it with less resources than other clubs. I'm not saying we have no resources. I'm not saying that we're the skintest club in the Premier League, but everyone's saying it now. Oh, you need investment. We're not getting that investment. People also say, oh, you've been needing investment. Yeah, we agree, but we haven't been getting it. So how can you keep expecting us to win the league and stuff like that without that investment? So it's a counteractive argument that people like to use, and it's why I wanted to get you on, because I understand your point, Saeed, but I also like to delve into conversations, and I think when you do break it down and you do use context, I think you can come to some sort of compromise that maybe there was an element where he shouldn't have even got one Premier League. Like, it's mad.
Well, there you go. I think that season was a crazy season. Obviously, we had the lockdown and whatnot, but I feel like for me, with why I say he might not have overachieved, because I feel like there were certain situations where I think he could have got them cups, and when he actually looked at his record, you're thinking, damn, has he only won that? Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I feel like there is a couple of more cups he could have won to make me look like a bit more polished. The Premier League,
I think the one area he's lacked is the FA Cups and League Cups. I think
this is what I mean.
Yeah, Arteta comes in and wins a FA Cup in his first season. Like, Klopp got us to 2 finals, never won us any in his first season, but he never took those cups seriously enough. I agree with you there. I think,
but also there's not a disrespect though in saying that from Jurgen Klopp, because I feel like it's
because he has the capabilities to do it.
Yeah. There you go. It's more of a respect that I know Klopp should have done it, and I know, well, I don't want Liverpool to do it, but I know they should have got more cups. I know they should have got more whatever. Like, I know it, and that's why I'm saying it's not a bad indictment on Jurgen Klopp, because he's a very, very good manager, outstanding manager, if I'm being honest. So, you know, that's where my kind of thoughts are leading to, in a sense.
Nah,
so,
lad,
yeah.
look at that compromise that we've just found there, Saeed. Weren't that brilliant?
There you go, man.
And that,
you know
guys, is how you have, even between 2 fucking hotheads, like us numpties on camera, like even us could come to a compromise. So make sure that you discuss in the comments down below what you think about Klopp, and if it was alluded, then say it, please. Because
say it with chest.
And say it with chest, because if you don't say it with chest, then it means nothing. Saeed, I want to spend the last 10 minutes around of this live stream, well, not live stream, this show, to discuss what we've got planned, like in terms of a show soon, and also like what you're doing, brother. Like, I want to have just a catch up with how YouTube's been going and whatnot. The first question I'll ask is, what is the plan of Saeed TV? Because I've seen it grow so much over the past couple of months, and I've seen significant growth in views, subscribers, engagement, and a lot of people who come over to this channel are huge fans of your channel as well. And what's the direction that you're looking at that, and how has it been the past couple of months? Because to me, it's been looking pretty damn good, my friend.
Yeah, man. You know what, bro? I can't lie to you. I just took in more independence. I've been like taking pride of what I do. I've been taking ownership as well. And I feel like that's so key for being a content creator. And I've just been kind of like enjoying it more. I feel like there's certain times where you can look at your channel, you're thinking, oh, I'm not growing well. But then what I've done is I've just said, you know what, let's go back to basics. Why did you fall in love with YouTube? What can you do to get better? What measures can you take to kind of like, you know, get more subscribers, get, you know, more people interacting with your channel? Because let's not kid ourselves. That's what YouTube's all about, is to enjoy it, but also to make sure.
Well, when you make it your full-time job, it would be ludicrous to ignore that side of the things, because that is what improves revenue.
Exactly.
No, but exactly. This is what I don't like, the way YouTubers don't talk about money. Yet I understand don't talk about the amount of money you make, because that's a private thing that people have a right to feel privacy for. However, what I don't understand is, like, people say, oh, you're a sellout. It's like, no, if you're a full-time YouTuber, it's then your obligation to give content to people who enjoy your content, people who tune in every single day. If you're going to be inconsistent, people aren't going to stick around. So the only way to be consistent is by being full-time and investing all your time into it.
Full-time, mate.
You do need to improve the algorithm. I say openly on channels and whatnot, like, I'll never promote anything that doesn't align with what I think benefits my audience. I'll never promote like I don't want to promote like fast foods and stuff, and there goes me McDonald's sponsor, which could be massive. Could be massive, but it's just not something I want to promote. It's not something I can condone. I think every once in a while, boss, but if it doesn't benefit my audience and it doesn't connect to my audience, it's not something I promote. But I say to my audience, if you smash a like on this video, it improves the algorithm, it gets it out there more, it gets me more views, more people watch adverts, and it helps me post more content for you lot. So, you know, I'm posting you the content, you give me a little
like that video.
And you know what? No, it's just like that little exchange. It's true. But the transparency is something that I think a lot of YouTubers lack with their audience, and I love the audience I've got on this channel, because they understand.
Mate, you've got the Red Army, man. Redmond Army.
Redmond Army, bro. I'm not trying to lie, Saeed. I think I've got the greatest audience, but it's because it's a combination of your audience, Expression's audience, the Big Six audience.
Of course.
It's a combination of people who watch all of us collectively, and then we're able to create what a lot of people see as really good content, lads. So
you're right, man. And that's what it's about. It's growth for me. It's growth, and that's what you want. And I feel like for me, I've just been rising up now, and I've just been enjoying it. And like I said, my aim now is just to kind of keep growing, keep pushing out content. Also, having, you know, better resources. I will, like, this is one thing I'm going to do now in the next, I think, few months, that you will see me invest into my channel now. And for me, this is where I think, you know, I've done all this kind of like in a room and whatnot, but I want to be in a studio. I want to be in a room where it's kind of like, it's modern. I want to be vibrant. I want to take it to the next level, because people invest in me, so I've got to invest back. And I feel like having better graphics, having better, you know what I mean, audio equipment, etc., etc. This is what I want to do. So that's my next step. And yeah, it's just a case of elevating, putting out more content, and just being me more. Like I think that's what a lot of people don't like to see. You know, people shy away from that, being you more. Like just be you more. Let the fans get to know you more. And keep
This is why I laugh. This is why I laugh when people give you shit, Saeed. You're one of my really good friends, and we've been friends for a long time now on YouTube. And the one thing I see from you, you try and improve yourself physically. I see you in the gym working hard. That's one good thing that I promote everyone to do. I see you going out on YouTube and posting every single day, doing live streams for your audience because you feel like that's what you oblige by. These people watch your videos and they help you live. Therefore, I'm going to deliver you the best content I possibly can. And to hear that you've got plans to improve the quality, something I'm intending to do over time, just going to build back into YouTube first and then really get into that.
Yeah,
I think it's awesome, and I'm looking forward to seeing where you get to, lads. You know what I mean? It's going to be a good journey.
Man.
I was going to say as well, Saeed, sorry, come on, do you want to say something else, lads?
No, go for it, bro.
All I was going to say is that we've got a show planned as well, don't we? I don't know a name. I don't know a name yet, but we'll have it all sorted.
Let them decide. Let them decide in the comments. I reckon that would be good.
Yeah, I'm going to give them an idea of the type of name I want. So if you come up with something better than boss, I was thinking like the Northwest Divide. What are you chatting there, lads?
The Northwest Divide, yeah.
Divide, because we're not into each other, lad. We hate each other's teams.
There you go. Yeah. I like that, I like that. If someone can think of a better one, then we're both
from completely different cultures. Like, this show is just so, like, divided, but it's boss because...
But, yeah.
It's weird, lads. But anyway, yeah.
No, I get it.
Yeah, lads. There's going to be a show every Thursday.
Yeah.
Are we agreeing on
Thursday.
That?
Yeah, we're agreeing on that one. It might change. It depends because obviously we're in the Europa League and whatnot, but hopefully it should be all right. Thursdays, that's about my chill day anyway.
So. Yeah, we'll get it done early Thursdays as well. And then, mate, we're going to work around the logistics to make sure you can get content for your channel from it and whatnot as well. And we'll just see how it goes, people. So tune in for that next Thursday at some point. Make sure you turn notifications on. Most of all, people, make sure you go over to Saeed TV and give him a subscribe as well. He's doing so many great things. The shows that he brings on some great guests, creates great discussion. And I know people who watches this like some good discussion. So, Saeed TV in the title. Saeed, before you leave, score prediction for tonight's game against whoever you're playing against, because I don't care because you're playing in Europa League.
Bloody hell, mate. 2-0 United. Like, honestly, I just want to get to... I want to get to the later round because I tell you what, man,
Saeed.
This Europa League might be like the Super League, mate. Because I tell you what, Barcelona might be in there, Juventus, Atletico Madrid. Listen, man, come and join us, man. This is where it's at, man. Europa League.
Nah. Saeed, when did you last score 7 goals in a Champions League fixture?
Roma.
When was that?
2007.
2007. Oh, that's proper boss, that lad. Who scored?
But Ronaldo, Carrick, Evra, Giggs, Alan Smith, and I think Rooney. Yeah, Rooney.
Yeah. You'd have thought of that quicker if it was more recent.
If it was more recent, no, I don't know anything recent. But yeah, that's a 7-1. But that was in a knockout stage, not in this. Come on, group stages, man. Come on, man. Get out of here, man. It's nothing, man. And we were 2-1 down in that first leg. We had to come back and destroy. Probably, honestly.
Have you never scored 4 goals against Barcelona?
Barcelona, no, but we won in Skulls at Old Trafford to knock them out. But and again, yours is better. Yeah. Yours is probably better. That's probably the biggest ever comeback ever.
Which final was better, 1999 or 2005?
Listen, come on, man. Don't play with that one, man. Don't play with
that
one.
What do you mean, don't play with that one? It's a fair and sound debate.
Nah, because you know why?
Answer. You just don't want to admit it because you're Manchester. No. You're going on this tribal thing of I'm from Manchester and I've got to stick to Manchester.
Let me go back into the zone.
Do you know if you just dig down? Do you know if you just dig down deep in your frigging soul and just use something that God created called a beautiful amount of common sense? If you use that, Saeed, then guess what? You will come to the conclusion that there's not even a debate. I will tell you now, Istanbul was the as Ty would say, the greatest.
But do you not think though? Like you had an ample amount of time to score 3 goals where we had.
You were shit though, lads. We played the greatest.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Again, you're using the context of you were shit. No, because we're using the context. No, but we're using the comebacks.
Oh, come on! It went all the way to penalties, and we had Jerzy Dudek in the goal. Everyone obviously thought that Milan were going to win. And Jerzy Dudek's doing his jelly legs, lads. We were 3-0 down.
No, but I use the context of it's still both a comeback. We're just talking about both comebacks, right? So what we're going to decide is you guys had an ample amount of time, a whole half to score 3 goals, whereas we had 2 minutes to score them 2 goals. A minute a goal. It was more beautiful. What was a more beautiful moment? Like without putting your Liverpool head on, that 99 moment or that Istanbul when you actually deep it.
I'll
2
tell you
goals
the
in 2
moment.
minutes.
I'll tell you the fucking moment when Jerzy Dudek fucking saved that penalty. That's what the best moment was,
Andrei
because no one
Shevchenko,
expected.
man.
Shevchenko at that time was an absolute serious monster machine of. Where's he from? Is he Ukrainian?
Ukrainian, yeah.
Ukrainian beast, mate. I'll tell you now, that was an unbelievable moment, Saeed. And as I think the wider audience would agree, that 2005 was the best final. I never asked her what was the best moment, even though I still think Jerzy Dudek. But the best final was definitely 100%, no, without a doubt, Liverpool versus AC Milan.
I used to be like
last
crumbled, man.
what?
No, nothing.
Nah, it's Steven Gerrard Rose. If you ordered your words right and you articulated yourself better, Saeed, then we'd be flying. You know what I mean? I love you, Saeed, lad. Touch my knuckles, brother.
No, man, big up, man. Love the show,
On,
man. Love the show.
That was a belter show. Guys, make sure that you subscribe to Saeed TV. Smash a like. Comment down below what you thought about the show as well. There's been loads of support on the channel recently. It really does mean a lot, everyone who's supporting me and Saeed and the rest of the lads who we work with. But yeah, mate, that's going to be the end of this one. Stick around for next Thursday as well, and keep an eye out on this channel and Saeed too. We will see you later, people.
Come on.
Safe.
Appreciate it.